Creating scripts that can be selected from the scripts menu is a powerful way to automate and customize your solutions. But it's important to know that scripts can be used in a variety of other ways. Rather than requiring users to always select a script from the menu, one of the options available is to attach the script to a button on the layout. For example, in the case of a navigation script such as the View Author Listing script, I already had a button in the header of the author's layout that's set to navigate to the author's listing layout. So it would make sense if that button ran the script instead. That would make it easier for the user. To implement that, I'll go into Layout mode, double-click on the button. That brings up the Button Setup dialog, and you'll see that I'd previously attached the Go to Layout command to the button. But it's a relatively straightforward matter to select the Perform Script command from the control group of commands and then specify the script I want performed. As soon as I select the script and click OK, the details of the command definition are shown at the top of the dialog. Perform Script View Author's Listing. Notice also that there's a control in the Options panel for what should happen to the current script, and by default it's pause. However, there are other options. The current script can resume as soon as the script attached to the button is complete, it can exit, or it can halt, meaning that any and all scripts that were running prior to the commencement of the button script will cease as soon as the button script commences. For most purposes, exit is the safest option, so I'm going to choose that in this case. I'll click OK, and now I'll go and test the change to the button definition. I'll exit Layout mode, and first of all, holding the Shift key down, I'll click on the List button. Notice that whereas 21 records were previously showing, there are now only 3 showing. The 3 author records showing 1 or more books published by Penguin Books, the publisher for the books by Jane Austen in the database at present. If I go back to the author's layout, and now with only 3 records in the found set, click on the List button without holding the Shift key down, the script runs and returns a list of all of the authors in the authors table. All 21 are showing. That takes care of what happens if the user clicks the Layout button to move to the author's listing layout. But what happens if the user navigates using the View menu or the Layouts menu on the status toolbar? In that case, the housekeeping procedures in the script will be bypassed. However, FileMaker includes some other options for triggering scripts that allow you to attach them to a variety of events so they'll run automatically in response to actions the user takes. You can set up what are called script triggers to determine when a script should run. Triggers can be attached to an object on a layout or to the layout itself. In this case, I'd like to show you what happens when I attach the script to the author's listing layout using an OnLayout Enter event trigger. I'll click on the Edit Layout button to go back into Layout mode, and now from the Layouts menu, I'll select Layout Setup. You'll notice along the top there are a number of tabs available, and the rightmost tab is labelled Script Triggers. So I'll click on that tab, and then you can see we're presented with a list of possible events related to the layout, which can be used to trigger a script. In this case, the OnLayout Enter script trigger is an appropriate one to run a script whenever the user navigates to the current layout. So I'll click the checkbox next to OnLayout Enter. I'm now being prompted to choose a script. So I'll choose the View Author's Listing script. Click OK to accept the selection. Depending on the type of event you choose as a trigger, the script you assign may run before the event occurs or after the event is completed. In the case of the OnLayout Enter event, the selected script runs after the event, that is, after the layout has loaded. However, the details about when the triggered script will run and also in which modes the trigger will be activated appear in the Properties panel at the bottom of the Setup dialog when you're specifying a trigger. As you can see, near the top of the Properties panel, it says the script will run after this layout is loaded, and by default, the trigger is enabled in Browse mode only. And that's appropriate for what I want to do with this particular script, which is specific to navigation in Browse mode. I'll click OK, and now I'd like to test the process. You'll also notice that as soon as I exit the dialog having specified a script trigger for the layout, a small icon with a red asterisk appears at the lower right of the layout in Layout mode. That's a small reminder that there's a trigger operating on this layout. Before running some tests, I'll navigate in Layout mode to the author's layout, and I'll double-click again on the List button. and reassign it to the Go to Layout command. My reason for doing this is because we don't want to trigger the script twice. If we had the script attached to the list button, then clicking on the button would run the script, and then when the script loads the layout, the script will be triggered a second time, so we'd have the script run twice. Now that I've made that change, I'll return to Browse mode. I'll omit some records. The keyboard command for omitting some records is Command-T on Macintosh or Control-T on Windows. So now we have a found set of 15 records. And I'll click on the List button. You can see that we now have a found set of 21 records, so the script has run and has performed its procedure to locate a full list of all authors in the authors table. Again, I'll omit some records, so we're looking at a found set of 15 records. Now, holding the Shift key down, I'll click on the List button. Then you'll notice that nothing happens. And we have a wait symbol, and the wait symbol doesn't go away until I release the Shift key, which I'll do now. And as you can see, we didn't get a filtered list, we got the entire list of authors. And that's in fact because the script is not well designed to be used in its current form as a triggered script. Let me show you why. In the script, on the fourth step, the Go to Related Records step, the script is in fact loading the author's listing layout. And of course, when it does, the trigger runs. And so, when the sequence of steps at the top of the script is run, with each pass, the script calls itself again, and that effectively creates an endless loop, which continues until the Shift key is no longer held down, at which point the next iteration of the script runs and the if command no longer detects that the Shift key is held down, and so the sequence of steps which finds all records runs instead. So the exercise of applying a script trigger to run a script whenever a user navigates to the layout has real potential, but requires some additional thought to make it work in an ideal way and to achieve the original intent of the script. If you continue on with the lessons, we'll look at how a problem of this kind can be resolved with minor adjustments to the configuration of the trigger and an extra step or two in the script.